Hey man, 19 keys, he getting swole out here, ain't he?
Nigga, bro, you see him on the damn episodes, you know, he be layered up, you know what I'm saying? Crystals and all. Nigga had that video.
That nigga had that goddamn Vietnam suit on in that little speech he gave. He was up there like, I saw the orange through the... That's how you know a nigga really in the gym. When you got like a suit on and you still got that whole...
he got that military look.
That slope right there.
You know that nigga pays that nigga to hype him up like that. That was too crisp. That motherfucker said, you paying these boys to be men, motherfucker.
Showing these boys how to be men.
Let's go. Yeah. Well, shoot, y'all been good though? How's y'all week been?
Man, mine's, well, as y'all know, it's been litty for me. It's the winning season, you know what I mean?
Why is it the winning season?
Tell I gotta talk my shit for a second, you know what I mean?
Talk your shit, King,
so,
you got it.
I started off in the fucking, in the garbage trenches, off the curve, get my shit off the curve, you know what I mean?
Literally.
And now I'm in corporate office buildings, it didn't happen overnight. It was a slowly grind from point A to point B, and then steadily graduating up. So now,
hey, that boy said he went from the corner to the corner off. What
literally,
boy, Jay-Z said, my dog coming along with Jay-Z. Boy, as a corner boy, went from a corner boy to the corner office. My nigga was in the garbage motherfucking trenches. Now he up there with the corporate niggas.
Yeah.
Now watch out, Kemp coming.
So cute.
How about you, King? What's going on with you? Yo, I seen what you been on.
What you mean? What that mean?
We ain't gonna talk about it.
What that mean?
We ain't gonna talk
hey,
don't
listen to him all the way. I've been in the gym. That's what I've been doing. Yeah, man. Been in the gym, just trying to change and live to a more healthier lifestyle with the shit that I'm eating. Some of my habits, I've been studying a little bit. So, just trying to better myself a little bit and just make healthy choices.
Yeah,
It's cliche to start the new year off with like resolutions, but if you have a solid starting point to where you can gain some momentum, that's all that really matters. It don't matter when you start.
And we were talking about shit like this last year. You know what I mean? So it's not like we started this shit at the top of the year. Like, we're going to become better come January 1st. Now, we was better last year.
Right. We started this in November. So we just continuing where we left off. That's all.
Hell yeah, guys. I've been great myself. Y'all know personally off camera the shit that I've been dealing with, but my life's been flipped upside down, but instead of continually to suffer through that upside downness, I've decided to accept that it is upside down and choose the life that I want to live and choose to be a god versus being a peasant. You know what I'm saying?
That's all you can do, bro. You can only play with the cards you was dealt. So.
King shit. Yeah, that's king shit.
Yeah. Shoot, so with everything we got going on, man, ain't been king shit. With that being said, welcome to the next episode of Peace of Mind Podcast. I'm Jalen, King Sage, to my left.
It's your boy Ronnie, King Coop on IG.
Jarrell, follow me on IG at JERRELL.KMP and chill. We're back.
Chill.
Hell yeah. And I should have said that. Follow me at Instagram at King Sage, KJNGSAGE. And this is a tough time we got going on, especially to start off Black History Month, y'all. We decided last night that we wanted to talk about this. This is
some real shit.
This is crazy, man. This really pulled a lot of soul strings for me personally, man. Tyre Nichols.
RP
to that brother, man.
Hell yeah, man. Gone too soon. Another black life taken way, way, way earlier than it needed to. And the trip about this one is it was black folks. It was our own brothers in uniform
5
that took us.
Black police officers. 5 black police officers.
Yeah, man. So, real, man, you the one that, me personally, I don't stay on social media, man. So you are the one that is the super expert on this case. So you start us out, man. Tell the people, give us some context on what the hell's been going on.
The hell's going on, man?
The hell's going on?
Unfortunately, Tyre, he lost his life in Memphis by, like I just said, by those 5 black police officers. It was just a regular, like a traffic, stop, whatnot. They pulled him over for reckless driving, and then one thing led to the next thing. All the police officers, they pulled him out the car. They pulled him down to the ground. They started beating him. They pepper sprayed him. That's just in the first part. That's what they did. So eventually, Tyre, he had got up,
kicked the shit out of him,
and then he ran. So they chased after him. But in the second phase of the incident, we actually see it in the camera. So in the camera, this time, like one of the officers was just hitting him like back, the back, the back. And then another officer was using his baton and hitting him inside his knee.
While he was contained too.
Huh?
While he was contained too.
While he was contained, and then they was still pepper spraying him and all that. And then eventually, Tyre, in that moment, he just stopped moving. And then they actually was making like a little bit of a joke about it. Like after they did what he did, well, after they did what they did, they was making like a little joke about it. And you know, it's very unfortunate and stuff like this that happens in, you know, the world. To me personally, like, I'm not gonna lie, like I've just been kind of like desensitized. Like just kind of like numb, because it's just like
did he die there, or like how did he die?
He died at the hospital because he was already like, you know, fucked up and whatnot. So he got transferred to the hospital, and then he later died from his injuries.
And it looked like even from the beating that he could have been dead right there, bro. Because it was one point where I saw
he stopped moving for
bro, my nigga was on the ground like handcuffed, and bro, like he literally like got back like he was about to kick a field goal and punted his ass, bro, multiple times, dog. It's that shit gave me chills while watching it, man. Even though I'm desensitized, it's still like damn, like what, like what?
Like
the fuck?
this is what you know, the world has come to. Like obviously with previous other police brutalities, it's always been like a white cop doing this to, you know, a black man. But now we got something like out the blue, just like different. Like it's black police officers doing this to a black man.
Well, I think that's what kind of makes this situation a little bit different, because that's what they really kind of harping on from. I don't keep up with the news much, but the few clips and excerpts that I've seen from CNN, Fox, and all that, that's kind of what they harping on, is like, oh, these are black men that did this. So they trying to like paint a narrative around that when it's not. It ain't even that. Like we've been saying at the police at 12 for the longest. It don't matter if it's a black officer or a white officer. The result is the same as we see here. So they trying to like paint some narrative around. I don't know what narrative they trying to paint. Police.
I saw this on Fox News, man. I don't even remember this clown's name, but he was sitting there just up in arms talking about how, well, y'all can't point to the white racial story now because it was black people that did it now. So now y'all want to sit here and talk about police reform. But what's the first thing you said when I brought it up? You said we've been talking about police reform.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's just evidence that the far left and the far right are really steering the conversation in these whole false narratives that are just out here right now. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, of course it doesn't matter that what race the cops were. Of course we need police reform, but it's time for us to dig deeper than that, because we're reaching across enemy lines. We're moving forward, and we're starting our Black History Month. So instead of harping about black on black crime, I think right now, what we need to do is we need to reach deeper, reach a little bit deeper. Mm-hmm. So what was y'all initial thoughts when you saw the video?
Like I said, I know for me, I was just numb. Like I seen it, I said, "Damn, that's fucked up." Moving on.
Damn.
Like yeah, I harped on it for like a good hour, 2 a day, but I'm like, all right, no, it's just time to move on, because once again, this is the ugly reality to which we live in, and then to see it like in this form, it's just like, man, like we are so low in our society. Like it's not even funny. It's just like, man, like this is like,
I think that like, for me, like I agree with you, bro, because for me, like honestly, bro, like after 2020, George Floyd and everybody that got Breonna Taylor, I'm trying to think of like a few of those cases, but
Rashad Brooks in Atlanta,
Tamir Rice. So after all of that, bro, like it gets to the point, like I agree with Real, it gets to the point where you get desensitized. Like I was talking to my sister about this, like I purposely chose to ignore this case for a long time because I just didn't want to watch the video. I'm not I'm not like not choosing to not acknowledge the wrongful death of Tyre Nichols. That's not what I'm doing at all. But it's just like, bro, like it's the same thing with the slave movies and all that. 12 Years a Slave, Butler, like Roots. Like nobody that is belonging to the same class of these people that are in these movies wants to keep watching themselves being portrayed as that. So, I mean, it's like you said, bro, like you become desensitized to it. So I didn't even want to watch it. But, I mean, when y'all said that we'd be talking about this tonight, I finally watched it and this shit just sad, man. It was very hard to watch because it's like, so there's two angles that, you know, was put out there. There was the street pole and then the body cam view. So the street pole was the first one that was out there. And it's just so wild because, I mean, as being a black man here, we may have not all been in this situation, but we're very aware that there are situations where a simple traffic stop could end up in about 3-4 cops in your face.
Yep.
When it shouldn't even be like that. You get stopped by a cop, he calling back up. Next thing you know, you got 2-3 cars pulling up for like we talking about a simple traffic stop. So when you watch the street cam view, you see as soon as they pull up, bro, it's already like 3-4 cops out there. So I'm just like, all right, it's a lot of niggas out here. Then when they pull up, like they already got the man restrained. And all you hear the whole time basically is niggas yelling, talking about, give me your hands. Meanwhile, they got his hand the whole time.
What are
you talking about? Like, you got the man hands, and then they just get more and more aggressive as the video goes. So it's just crazy. And then, so apparently they, like Memphis held like a police chief meeting type stuff, and everybody was wanting for the body cam footage to be released. So then they finally released the body cam footage, which honestly wasn't that great because, you know, the guy that had the body cam, he was kind of all to the side where the other guys were over here. But, I mean, that was even more baffling because you get to see more of the severity of the blows that he was taking. Like, it was one point where they literally just was rocking this man in the face. Rock him in the face.
My nigga, I remember last night when we were working hard too. And then, you know what I mean? He was like, fuck it. I'm gonna just watch the video. I've been avoiding this shit. Bro, we went from full on locked in mode to, you know, I'm like, yo, Tyron, you get that? Then Ronnie, my nigga Ronnie was sitting here like, bro, hold up, bro. You gotta give me a second because I can't stop watching this. I gotta watch this again. Do y'all see this? Have y'all watched this? Right. That's how crazy it was, man. You know what I mean? And I feel you because that shit was... The part that really got me was the fact that it was 5 black officers. It is not that I'm surprised. It's just that the timing of it is impeccable, which brings me to my fucking initial reaction to it. And I think that it was initially just this was a government setup. Like the timing of it was just too perfect. Like, okay, now we about to roll into Black History Month. I mean, what better way to better divide America and furthermore divide black people amongst ourselves than to have pretty much a gang of niggas in a motherfucking blue uniforms beating up on a defenseless man on the ground.
They were a gang, bro, because I mean, y'all heard that. So this group basically was a group of what they call the Scorpion. So we from the South, bro. Like we know the Red Dogs in Atlanta. That's like a hidden task force type group, like shadow officers and what you call it?
Like a shadow company, where they're still in the police and law enforcement, but like they're kind of like, you know, in the cut.
It's like line and sheet clothing type shit.
Yeah. Exactly. Like they don't have to answer to nobody. They got the green light. Like, look, y'all go out here and y'all clean these streets. Honestly, bro, it's like the shit you see on TV. You know what I mean? Like, y'all, you can see Den of Thieves or, you know what I mean? Just for exaggeration, you see how The Rock would handle, you know, shit in Fast and Furious. You know what I mean? Those are movies, but like, that's dead ass shit that goes on. They have these vigilante groups, these renegade groups, these training day ass niggas just out here just, Denzel Washington type shit. Like they just go out here and they say, fuck the law. We about to do this
our way.
By the law of the jungle. Pretty much like the law of the streets.
Yeah, man, it was just wild because like I said, I mean, the first view was already enough, but then like, there was so many points in there that just were like appalling. Like you said, the dude, bro, like, it was already 3 or 4 guys out there, and then it was a point where I saw maybe like 2 or 3 officers run up. My man's literally ran up and was like, "Bah!" Like straight to the scene, didn't ask no questions, just ran up and kicked him in the face. I'm
That's
like,
not funny,
bro,
bro.
like, come on, man, like,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That shit foul, man.
It's foul, bro. It's foul. But I mean, that's why I feel like it could possibly be like a government setup. And I've been on kind of this conspiracy theorist way, but I feel like it's not so far fetched because, I mean, y'all tell me what y'all think about this. I feel like, not even I feel like, I almost damn near know that our government is built off continuity. The reason that we still dealing with these issues is not even because of human ignorance or human stupidity or human laziness or greed. It's simply set up like that because we profit off social issues. The government profits off social issues. The government takes our emotions, facilitates things to happen in order to keep us distracted from whatever the fuck they're doing, whatever the fuck they're trying to hide, and they have us fighting each other. We're sitting here fighting the police force. We're sitting here fighting pretty much people in the lower and middle class, not understanding that it's actually the system that needs to be broken down and reconstructed, if not tore all the way the fuck down. That was my initial thoughts of it, man. What do y'all think about that? I know I'm on some conspiracy theorist type shit, but I don't know. I feel like there's some validity behind that.
Yeah, I can see that. You know, that's it. It was kind of the same way, going back to 3 years ago with George Floyd, the riots down there, right in Atlanta. It was actually like known. Oh, I'm about to cancel for this shit. It was known for some, Antifa people that was in the crowd and that purposely fucked up, like
I remember that too.
Well, yeah, they purposely fucked up stores and cars and shit to further push that agenda to keep people like in the rage mode. So they hire people to go in, like as rioters and whatnot, and then they fuck up shit on purpose. Yes, bro. Antifa.
Yeah. I remember seeing videos of that going around. Yeah.
Is that the same people that like posed as Black Lives Matter protesters and then were rioting and destroying stores?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
See, like that right there, but it's bigger. It's bigger than us. You know what I mean? I guarantee you, there's some type of critical theory out there that the quote unquote elites are abiding by in order to keep America going. Because I mean, like, think about it. All great civilizations, and America is a great civilization in terms of flourishment and success, especially with our evolution with technology. The only destiny for civilizations like ourselves is destruction. But in order to keep that from being destroyed, you just simply maintain the problems that you have instead of solving them. And then to put even an extra little stank on it, you can profit from keeping those issues alive. You know what I'm saying? Like it costs, imagine how much revenue is being generated right now just by simply touching people's emotions, their rage, their outcries, their sadness, their anger, their disappointment, going into the left-wing side, the liberal, and the conservative side. You know what I'm saying? There's a conversation, there's a awareness level that they don't want us to get at, and they're trying to keep us distracted, I believe.
The argument is not white cops, it's police officers, period.
Yeah.
Like it's the police, period. And like we talked about in previous episodes, like it's tricky when it comes to niggas because niggas is always going to take a check. So it's like,
that's true.
Even if we have, because that's one of the questions I wanted to ask y'all later was, how can we, if it were up to you, how can we build the right police officers to protect these communities? So the trouble with niggas is we will always take a check and go do some fucked up shit for the check. So, that part is just tricky. And like I said, I want to ask y'all that question later. So we'll get to that later.
Of course. Well, I mean, let me ask y'all, where do y'all think where is this all starting? Like, where's the foundation that we need to approach to better understand why we are in the position that we are in this relationship between constituents of our communities and cops, specifically these constituents being minorities. I don't even like that word, minorities. Black people, Hispanic people that honestly are just not white.
I think that I don't quite know like the background, what it takes to become a cop, but I think that something happens in the academy that taints people because there are certain cops out there that come in with this mentality of, hey, like, you know, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna create progress, I'm gonna create change, I'm gonna create reform. But once they end up going through that program, it's like they get tied in with the rest of the bullshit. So I think that honestly, bro, like it's the same shit we've been pushing for years. There has to be some reform in the type of trainings that motherfuckers coming up in the academy go through. Because honestly, I feel like what it is, the police officers are used to having the excessive force from dealing with these crimes and stuff, that they carry that mentality to whoever they encounter. So, for instance, this is what I'm saying, I don't know the process, because like, what if they come up and, you know, graduate the academy, and then your first assignment is to go to the roughest of hoods, and you got to work your way up from there. Well, if that's the case, you already used to having these interactions with these people, these, you know, in these horrible communities. So this is just how your outlook on black people is now. So you take that with you wherever you go. Now, I don't know if that's the process, but I think that, like I said, it has to be some type of reform in the trainers, because they are basically seeing us as all the same way, as all the gangbangers and shit that they're encountering.
Mm-hmm. You know, just going back to, you know, obviously with previous generations, you know, with systematic racism, that definitely has a tie to it. Like, well, back in the 90s, with Rodney King saying, fuck the police, da 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 da. And like, that was like the very first video of, you know, a black man just getting beat the fuck down like that. And that's why, you know, it made, you know, that much of the impact. Yeah. Because, like, you know, like, well, back then, you never see no shit like that. Right. And then ever since then, it's just been a constant overbuild. And then now we're in these conditions now. But now, you know, it's not more so as like the white or black thing. It's just more so like, you know, police. Because now, obviously, 5 black men that's serving, you know, being a police officer, they're doing some fucked up shit to on a unarmed man. So we got to take a step back, specifically as black people, because we always feel like, you know, like we are the victims of whatnot, and that we can't do no fucked up shit. Well, clearly these guys did some fucked up shit, and they look just like you.
So let me ask y'all a question, man. Like, with us talking about these officers being 5 black men, what do y'all think tipped them off to be as aggressive as they were? Because, like I said, the dude came in on go mode already. He came in running and kicked the man in the face, just off gate, like just freshly walked up onto the scene. And we know that he got pulled for a reckless driving. It wasn't anything violent. It wasn't like, hey, he didn't want to hear shots up, or he's a violent crime. It was a traffic stop, reckless driving violation.
You know, there's a rumor going on.
What caused those 5 black men to be that violent to that black man over a non-aggressive police stop?
So one, before what I was about to allude to there, I think we also as black people got to understand that just because another motherfucker is black doesn't mean that like, oh, why would you do that to another fellow black man? I mean, bro, we've been doing this shit for years. It really ain't nothing new. But two, there is a rumor going around that what if they knew them? You know what I mean? We said that this was a separate task force. You know what I mean? They got leeway to operate in this community, and you know what I mean? Though I do feel like, you know, this was set up, you know what I mean? But, you know, for purposes of conversation, in terms of answering that question, I would say maybe there was a connection to him. Maybe there was a connection to him that they didn't know about, that we don't know about. Because in Memphis, there's actually rumors going around that, yo, like those 5 cops, they're dirty. And they knew him. And I mean, maybe whatever the dynamic of their relationship was, it was what it was, but maybe they just pulled up on him and said, look, this is the last time you're going to do blase, and they just went off on niggas. But just to put this 2 cents out there, I still think that this was set up by powers higher than ourselves. And I think that literally, in a way, even conversations that we're having now could be a distraction in a way.
And then to add on to your point, so it's actually, it was said that Tyre, he was a employee at FedEx, right? And then Tyre had relations with one of the officers, like two of the officers now ex-girlfriends. So at the scene, Demetrius, one of the officers, like after they got done like beating him up and fucking him up, like he pulls out his phone and he films Tyre just like done and whatnot, and then he takes pictures and then he sends it off to his ex-girlfriends as a way like, hey, like listen, like that, I got this nigga, so like now what? Like basically like trying to like one up.
It always comes down to a female, don't it?
Can I take a couple steps back? Cause I want to explore what you just said.
Okay.
Let me take a couple steps back from this, this conspiracy mindset I'm in.
Okay.
What if this was just simply chance? Like this shit just happened because old boy was fucking with the cop's wife and he said he must not know who the fuck I am.
So we're gonna get gang on him.
You know what I'm saying? What if this just is like bad timing? Like, damn, you did this right before Black History Month. Damn, now there's a narrative about black cops shooting black men. It's not just, you know what I mean, the gangbangers doing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if? Because that's crazy. Crazy. And honestly, that's stupid as fuck to do that and to see all these witnesses around and you just blatantly, you know how mad you gotta be?
Motherfucker, but they cops though. They know ain't shit gonna happen to them. It's a brotherhood, bro.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
We can get fucked up right here and ain't shit gonna happen.
Yeah.
Outside.
Unless the right motherfucker filming.
And even then, that motherfucker's filming. That's it. They ain't doing shit else. Like,
the most things gonna get done, you're just gonna get media attention.
You won't get your death film. That's it.
Damn.
Y'all think they're gonna get convicted? I was talking to my homegirl MJ. Shout out to one of my best friends, MJ. She said, I guarantee you ain't shit gonna happen to them because they black. They ain't gonna be talking no shit about them. They just gonna be like, no, this is wrong. This shouldn't have happened. Lock these motherfuckers up. Cause Trump, he's on the record saying that was appalling. Wasn't no those were good men in the field, or wait, hold up, what did Tyre do? Well, ain't no conversation like that on Fox News on the conservative side. The conservative side, all they talking about is, oh, now y'all now it ain't no white racial relations. Now it's not about systemic racism. So what y'all gotta say now? So they just sitting here being braggadocious at this point.
So that video you sent in the chat, that kind of pissed me off because
he was being like, mad funny with it, bro.
Yeah, I was like,
what
who the fuck is this nigga, bro?
Bro was clowning. Bro literally was on some I guess you could say like some Saturday Night Live shit on Fox News, talking about making light of the situation and making light of how now the media has no choice but to take the white cop narrative out of the narrative. Now y'all want to sit here and talk about police reform. Now y'all want to sit here and try to find the best way to bring racism into it. And they're just up in arms saying that you can't bring racism into it because these are two black people. And he's just making fun of it from them.
Fuck that. It's still racist. So I don't know if this is the fucking Merriam-Webster definition to this motherfucker, but I follow this nigga on YouTube, Craig Facts Podcast. He says the definition of racism is the competition for wealth and resources from different groups of people. So with that being said, it's not about color, it's about the competition. So, for example, if it's a white person here and a black person here living in this community, it's only a certain amount of jobs, So if it's just the nation we live in is more steered towards white people. So that's when you get, redlining and districts and zoning and shit like that. So the white people that live in that area can have access to these resources. So even still with this shit going on, it's still racism because that mentality that they got is not of theirs. It's not of them. That came from the institution that they in, the MPD, Memphis Police Department. So even still, it's still racism. So what they talking about is some bullshit. That don't even make sense.
I want to push back on that because I want to get into the topic of racism itself. What you described sounds like it would be classism. You understand the competitions of resources and opportunities and, you know, everything that you said. You know what I mean? Because from what I learned from my African American study professor, he said the definition that I subscribe to is things can only be racist if another group of people can benefit from them. A black person being racist to a black person they can't benefit from that because at the end of the day,
a different group of people other than you saying a black person being racist to somebody that's not black.
Somebody that's not black or that is black. You can't gain anything from that. But versus you have a white person with white privilege and starting up from here versus from back here, they can be racist because their racism is not going to have any.
It holds weight.
It holds weight. They have more. You know what I mean? They just. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, they can stop you from getting a job. They can stop you from getting a motherfucking loan, some shit like that. Like it's more. They have the resources.
So
it's more so like it's the higher class motherfuckers, the motherfuckers that have all the opportunity, have all the resources, the tools to live what we in the lower and middle class would call success. They have all that success shit. And they're just it seems like they're trying to keep it from us. And that was my pushback to what you said.
So what you're directly saying is that black people can't be racist. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not. That's a good question. Let me marinate on it. I ain't gonna answer it now. Let me marinate. I'm gonna let y'all speak.
Man, honestly, I think everybody can be racist. Because at the end of the day, now I'm not saying everybody can be racist on the level that we got it here.
Right.
Where niggas is slaves and motherfuckers beat niggas and then niggas is still rich off some shit 400 years ago. That ain't what I'm talking about. But what I was saying earlier with the competition between wealth and resources between different groups of people, we see it now where, you know, we have Black Twitter and there's some form of union amongst black communities. I say communities because there's not a specific black community where everybody's involved, but I see different groups of black community, like certain pockets of certain black people. So with that being said, I feel like even us three here coming together, if we got some shit that we doing and, you know, this is us three and we got some outsider coming in, we can discriminate against them, whether it's, you know, race, the way they look, some shit like that. But us discriminating against them and not choosing to include them in some shit that we doing is hindering that person. Any group can do that. Some Hispanics, you don't speak Spanish, you're not gonna gain access to the Hispanic Latino bank. You know what I'm saying? If you're not black, you're not gonna do blase. Like, every group of people can be racist, but not on the level that these motherfuckers is.
And then to add on to context, a little history fact. It was a point in time in history where the Moors, which, you know, Moors were black, the Moors owned white folks at that time. Yes, white people were slaves like thousands of years ago, right? Like we taught them how to read, write, bathe, all that. But even though those white slaves, yes, they were slaves and we owned them as slaves, but we treated them like a little bit better.
It wasn't chattel slavery. Right. Black people weren't
like. We didn't treat them like commodity and like property. Like we didn't beat humanity out of them.
It wasn't put a motherfucker in some chains, lay you down like some sardines, where you pissing and shitting on each other. Now, throw you off the ocean because it's too many of y'all. Then get you here. Separate the family
and beat even more humanity out of them. And then when you get on these plantations, just your whole life is just making sure, maintaining the humanity not coming back inside you.
A lot of differences. The main difference between chattel slavery, what the white people were doing here, versus other forms of slavery. Slavery was not uncommon in the old world. Slavery was, hey, we came in here, took over your country. You know, the men are slaves, the women are whatever. You know, y'all were kind of, it's like a prisoner of war type thing. But you could buy your freedom back. Or it was slavery for a certain amount of time. It wasn't a lifetime thing. But when they got here, you know, it turned into what it is.
Yeah, true. True. You know, after listening to y'all and really marinating on this, I mean, straight, just being blunt, I would say racism is really just thinking that you are better than somebody else based on their skin color. I think that's the first definition.
It's purely skin color?
Yeah, because I feel like all these other definitions that we could go into is just different manifestations of the in group not trying to include the out group. It's groupism, is for lack of better terms. Groupism pretty much is just, you know what I mean? You don't belong to our group, so you being an outsider coming in is just different. You know, I work in a restaurant. I've been working there for a while. I worked in multiple restaurants. And anytime somebody new comes in, specifically at this restaurant that I worked at, back in the day, the servers and the bartenders and even the managers would treat them like in a hazing process, just like in fraternities or sororities. They would treat them as if they were outside, like you got something to prove if you want to belong here. You want my respect, you got to motherfucking prove it. It's the same thing manifested more on a cruel way in American culture. It's groupism. So like it's racism. So like racism in terms of like what I can gain or, you know what I mean, access to certain tools. That's just, I guess, that's different subcontext of what racism could lead up to be. But racism at its core is just simply thinking, I am better than you because of my skin color. And furthermore, I personally know somebody that I believe is definitely racist, but he's racist to his own people. And he thinks he's better than his own people because he doesn't do what he would call is the regular nigga shit. And that's racist and still in a certain regards. You know what I mean? So pretty much just believing that you are better than another person because you don't act like this set of people or you don't look like this set of people.
So what's the difference between racism and discrimination in your terms, since you're saying that?
Off the top of my head, the difference between racism and discrimination. I can't say that there's a concrete difference because they kind of imply each other.
Well, racism has more elements, in my opinion.
Because discrimination, racism is more concrete in its discrimination because it's limited to like things based on your skin color. First of all, anything based on your skin color is completely just stupid because you go to Africa, tell me you're black, they'll be like, no, you're African. That makes no sense.
Right.
What are you talking about? But that's real shit. But I mean, discrimination, that's broad. You know what I mean? Life is nothing more than discrimination. Your very essence as a person is discrimination. Discrimination on an intrinsic level is pretty much discerntainment. You know what I mean? I'm not going to allow this. I am going to allow this. I'm going to discriminate against that. This is bad. This is wrong. This is not for me. So racism is a little bit more specific in the manifestation of what discrimination is.
You got some Cyril?
What would you say?
I got marinate on that.
I think discrimination, bruh, I think any group of people has, when I say group of people, I'm not even just talking about a race. I think that anytime that there is a gathering of people, there's going to be some discrimination. Because usually a gathering of people is a gathering of like-minded people in whatever it is they're doing, whether that's, it's the Marvel fan club, it's the NRA, it's, anime club, it's y'all bonding over whatever it is that y'all share. Yeah. So everybody here is kind of seeing the same. So when you see somebody that's not that, you kind of give them that, look, like, this motherfucker over here is different. Right. So I think that's discrimination, but I think that racism, it's specifically tied to skin color, but it's a form of discrimination tied to skin color, but it's also so many other elements with it because, like I said, it's only we're going to live in this certain area, only we're going to have this type of job, only we're going to go to these schools. It's like that. It's a little bit deeper than simple discrimination.
I think we cracking the pavement right now, man, because we opened up this segment on, okay, so where did this shit come from? And we didn't really have a concrete answer, but now we're really unraveling it. What is racism? What is discrimination? And at the core of where we're going is we're unraveling the paper that really is. We're talking about police brutality. We're talking, why did Tyre Nichols go through this completely heinous crime that was done against him? So I definitely think the next step we need to take is asking ourselves, with our own foundations, when y'all were kids, what did y'all parents teach you when you got pulled over by the cops?
Me, just off the rip. They told me, hey, put both of your hands on the wheel. On the wheel. If he or she comes up, they ask you for your license and registration. You put your right hand underneath the glove compartment or like right here on the side, pull it out, and then give it to them. And then you put your right hand back on the wheel and just stay there until everything is just in the clear, you know? And me personally, like I got pulled over like 4 years ago back in 2018.
Talk about that experience, man. What was that like?
Man, it was interesting experience. I was going down the highway. I was doing like a 70 and a 50. So the cop, yeah, man.
You was speeding, nigga.
That ain't that bad.
I was speeding, but the cop, he was a white cop. Pulled me over. He's like, hey man, you know you was doing this and that and third, and then
What did you feel when you saw them lights come on?
I felt a little bit nervous, but I've followed my protocol of what my parents told me. I had both hands on the wheel. I gave him my license and registration, and then he was like, everything was just good. He was like, okay, you messed up, and have a nice night.
So he didn't give you a ticket or nothing?
Yeah. Like he gave me a ticket.
Oh,
Yeah.
He said, nigga, don't get it twisted.
Yeah.
I still got a ticket.
I paid $300 for that shit.
I still got some points on my driver's license.
But he was a very nice cop. He said, listen, I get it. Things happen. Just don't do it again. I said, yes, sir. So, yeah.
Okay.
So as long as, from my experience being a black man dealing with the police, if you're just, cool, calm, and collective, things should go good in your favor. You just can't be, just trying to prove something. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't just be rah, 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 rah. No.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
You gotta calm your ass down. You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's already against you, so don't ignite the fire. Don't fuel.
Don't poke the bear.
Right. Don't do that shit.
Bro, my thing is like, so just growing up as a black boy with a black family, I had both of my parents, so I've always kind of been like taught by my family how I appear as a black boy / man to the world. So they did give me the breakdown of how to interact with cops and shit. I've heard it from both of my parents. I've heard it from extended family, aunts, uncles, grandparents, all that. They say, whenever you get pulled by the cops, pull over. You keep both of your hands on the steering wheel. And then, I already had the window cracked for when the cop get there, so you don't make no sudden movements. You pulled over, you got your hands there. They come in and ask for your license and registrations. Your hands are still on the wheel. You say what your next move is about to be, whether you going to your what is this joint called, the center console or the glove department. So yeah, like you just you want to keep it respectful. Say yes sir, no sir. And honestly, bro, like, I had bragged on never being stopped by the cops before. I done had my license for, almost 5 years now? Never been pulled by the cops. Got pulled by the cops the first time this year, bro. The first time. So, I was downtown, I was on a date. We was at a bar, and it was a cold night. So, I went to get the car, pull it around, and warm it up, and, pick shorty up. So, did that, and it was, I don't know what was going on. She was a little drunk, so she was taking a while. But I'm sitting out here in front of the bar, basically. I'm parked, I got my flashes on, and I'm just waiting on her to leave. So I feel like people knew the protocol. They see a car sitting here with their lights flashing, everybody's driving around me. I just so happened to get whoever the fuck was driving is just sitting here behind me all of a sudden. So I'm like, bro, it's kind of blowing me because it's like, bro, you see everybody going around and then you just gonna pull up here and sit there. Obviously, I'm waiting for somebody. So anyway, like when you out like downtown on the strip and stuff like that, you got cops that are just kind of like, in the vicinity making sure things are going smooth. So I'm sitting here waiting, the car's behind me, and then cars start to just pile up behind this motherfucker because I guess they don't know what's going on. So then on my left, I see the flashlight shining. It's 3 cops over here. That's like, they got their vest on, standing, patrolling and stuff. So I'm like, shit, here we go. So I'm like, let me just move my car so it ain't no trouble. I'm gonna circle back around and just pick her. Hopefully she's outside by then. So I go to move my car, and I probably drive maybe like less than 100 feet. Next thing I know, I see some blue lights, and I see the little Ford Escape pulling in behind, and I'm like, God damn.
Got that ass.
Shit, I was like, damn. I was like, well, here we go. Here we go. This is my first time getting pulled. So I was able to pull into like this lot, like on the side there, like on the strip where we was at. Down Glenwood, everybody from Raleigh, we was on Glenwood. So I pulled into the lot there, and you know, I'm just kind of preparing for the worst. I'm remembering everything that my parents had taught me. And so I did the protocol. I got my hands on the steering wheel. And what's funny is I got a call from the girl while I was getting pulled over. And I was like, I can't talk to you right now. I'm getting pulled over by the cops. She was like, what? She started panicking. I just hung up. But anyway, it was pretty simple. It was a white cop. He didn't seem hostile. He was like, you know, what's going on? I explained to him, you know, I was like, hey, you know, we went out. I was waiting on my date. It was cold outside, so I pulled up to pick her up. And then he was like, okay, well, you know, you can't sit in front of like the place or whatever. It's illegal. Then he asked for my license and registration. Took that to the car, ran it. Never been pulled before, never had any type of arrest, violations, or anything like that. So everything came back clean. And he basically said the same thing you said, you know, just don't do it again. It's illegal. Blase, blase. That was that. So it was pretty simple. And honestly, bro, like, I don't know how many people have been taught how to interact with the cops, but you definitely going to make it worse when you're doing all the blabbing, talking back, and all. You don't want to do that, bro.
If you're setting yourself up, just being real, you are setting yourself up. So just do what you're told, follow protocol, and just, you know, relax yourself.
And we're not trying to sound like no simps or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I'm trying to tell you how to survive, man. Like, we already know the relationship that black people and the police have. We already know that this is a relationship of a bunch of trauma on both parties. Black people are scared. Cops are scared. Cops are malicious, whatever the way the cops are feeling.
You know what game you inserted in, so why would you exacerbate the severity of the game by adding fuel to the fire?
Why play the character of the bad guy being pulled over by the cops when we already know the dynamic between the cops? And I feel like that's where a lot of black people be getting fucked up, because you get this chip on your shoulder and you get this thing about, oh, I'm trying to prove something, you know, oh, you just a boy in a uniform, all this type shit. Bruh, like, at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, the police is an authoritative figure with a gun.
And you
a citizen.
Bro.
Like, what are you gonna beat the cop up? You gonna kill the cop?
But see, like, that's actually what niggas think, though. I got niggas that dead ass. Matter of fact, I was talking to my nigga the other day about it. He was like, bro, a cop came to the crib, tried to say I was beating on shorty. I wasn't beating on shorty. I told that nigga, take your badge off, take your gun off. We can go outside. Boom, let's do it.
What
you
that
pussy without the gun. And I'm like, okay, I feel you. Like, man on man shit ain't gonna do nothing. You know what I mean? But it's like
ego shit, bro.
But it's like you sitting here trying to prove your manhood and prove like, bro, you nothing but a bitch anyway. And what are you winning? If you whoop his ass, what bragging rights do you get? Do you not get a ticket? You more than likely still get a ticket. You more than likely still going to court. You're not doing anything. You're not helping.
Worse for yourself.
And if you dare hit a cop or even kill a cop, it's gonna be worse.
Because them niggas is looking out for each other.
If you hit a police dog, nigga, you going to jail for a long time.
And then again, like, we're not trying to sound like no fucking coons, because we have your best interests at fucking heart, dead ass. Like, we just want to make sure that y'all good and y'all know how to move out here in these streets.
I mean, like I said, bro, I'm not on no coon and shit. I'm just telling you how to survive, bro. Like, just keep in mind what we said. Like, given the trauma between black people and cops, you already kind of in a tense moment for both people, because regardless of whether we want to give the cops this, they work a very fucking dangerous job, bro. Like, no matter,
and that's something we gotta notice too.
You gotta know that. So they are more than likely on edge when they pull up to you, because they don't know the situation. Like, bro, you gotta think cops deal with certain types of shit every day. They may walk up on somebody and they didn't pull the gun on them. You know, they don't know what they walking up on. So you don't want to, like we was talking about earlier, you don't want to poke the bear. If both of us are on on edge, why you gonna rile them up by resisting, by just saying some shit? Like, you don't have to say something back to everything they say. Just say yes sir, no sir, and then you know what I'm saying, talk shit later. But you want to make it out alive, don't you?
You know what's funny? Like, my pops used to be a cop too, like way back in the day. Like, but now me being grown, he used to say like, hey, it was times that I thought, that I was gonna make it home because of the certain situations that he had to, see.
They work dangerous jobs.
Yeah, but this is, the reality, and oftentimes people don't care because like they're not in their shoes, not realizing like, hey man, the cop has a family just like you. Like that, he has a wife, kids, he got to go home too. You feel what I'm saying? So
it's a lack of respect I'm noticing between cops and with black folks, and honestly lower class folks, because my nigga, honestly, it's white folks like those trailer park white folks, those white boys that live in the hoods, those Hispanics who pretty much like live just like black people live. They say the same shit about it. So like lower class folks look at cops as pigs, and cops that are in these communities where they're only surrounded by this type of crime, and their day-to-day interactions is through this type of crime, they look at us like dogs. So like we looking at each other like animals. So there's a lack of respect that's putting up this wall between each other, and that's the wall we have to break. It's a lack of understanding and respect. So I mean, how would y'all police y'all's communities if y'all did have a community?
Just making sure that everybody is really well trained in certain situations. That's hard because once again, like, every cop isn't gonna react the same. Like, every cop isn't gonna be on the type of timing that they was on with us. You got good ones, got not so good ones. So it's never gonna be like 100% like curable factor, but if be put in the right type of cops in those type of areas, then things should get more in the healthier relationship. And I even had another solution as seeking therapy for both the cops and for the victims, because like this shit's very traumatizing. Like, yes, imagine what those black cops did. Yes, it was fucked up shit, but I know in the back of their mind, they're like, man, we really did some fucked up shit out here. Mm-hmm. Like we was really fucking savages. Like, I'm not saying not to have no feelings for them. Like, I'm like, what they did was some coward shit. But at the same time, it's like, in the back of their mind, it's like, damn, like, we just threw our whole lives away because over some ego-driven thing, and then that. And then also for the families of the victims, the victim, he's gone, but now your mama, she gonna be on some pills, or she might get sit down into the crazy house for the rest of her life because you're gone. So now the trauma builds up more and more and more.
Bro, I'm gonna say, it sounds so simple, but I really think that in order to become a police officer, you have to invest yourself in the community. So I feel like as part of the academy training and all that shit, the recruits that are coming in, the same way that they do Section 8 and all this type of shit, they should place these recruits in these specific areas that they're going to police. Undercover, red dog shit, whatever you want to call it, put them there so that they can learn to immerse themselves in this community, so that when they get these calls, they recognize these people. They're like, oh, that's Ray Ray, you know what I'm saying? I know he been having issues with his girl. Let me go in here and handle this. Or I know, Lil TJ just lost his father. He been hanging out with, Desmond and Devontae and all them. I know what they do. So let me go over here with Lil Ray Ray, versus you getting a call and you see Lil Ray Ray out here and you just automatically on go. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like you definitely got to be invested in the community. And I'm going to take that idea from Rel about the therapy. I think that as a cop, you should have, weekly, whatever, some type of therapy session.
That's a great idea.
To get that out. Because if you just holding that in, it's like we talking about, you already are doing a dangerous job, you're maybe encountering the same crimes every day. So automatically, just we're creatures of habit. If you're encountering the same crimes every day, you're just gonna have that mentality towards every person that you see. So you need somewhere to, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think police officers are paid that well. So it ain't like they have money to go blow on their vices and shit like that to do it. So they have to have some type of way to get all of this shit out that they are feeling, you know? So the therapy, invest in yourself in the community, and I really feel like I need one more point, but those two are jumping.
Yeah, because you need
that three. That thesis.
That one, two,
college,
college educated niggas you're talking with right now.
So what about you, though, Jay?
Bro, I loved everything y'all said, man. I love what you said because I'm adding the therapeutic session for cops. I think would be a big boost, and I love what you said. And the name that what you're explaining, the name behind that is the localization of politics, aka the localization of government. The problem that we face in America is that we're a culture full of subcultures. I talk to people about this all the time. We are a culture full of subcultures. It's hard to get all these multitude of subcultures on the same agenda. So if America is really based on freedom, you know, we just had like a big issue with abortion and how on a federal level it's outlawed. Thank God it's rung down to the decision of the states. But I think that for something like that, we're not gonna be in unison on an issue like that. So what we need to do is localize those type of decisions. So if we're in Raleigh, okay, we can get an abortion in Raleigh. You go to honestly any other motherfucking country ass bumpkin town in North Carolina, you know what I mean? Okay, you probably can't do that. You know what I mean? But at least you have a little bit more unity, because it's hard to get 300, 400 million people on the same page, but it's easier to get a couple 100,000 people on the same page. Mm-hmm. You know, when people are talking about how, you know, people back in the day, we didn't have to lock our doors, it's simply because the world was smaller. We didn't have airplanes, cars, and travel and communication wasn't so accessible and grand as it is today. You know, we need to localize our communities a little bit better. And I think that what you said, I think that it touches on that. Just to combine both of those into my point, ideally, I wouldn't have police in my community. I wouldn't have it in my country, state, whatever you want to call it, because I feel as if police officers, the idea of police and this organized, what word do I want to use? This organized institution on making sure people are doing the right things and making sure they're not doing the wrong things is simply
a power trip.
It's a power trip, but I would say that it's more so taking the accountability away from people. I think that in our culture, we are looking to so many other people to hold us accountable. These days, especially in millennial generation and Gen Z generation, we are lacking the leadership gene, because we have teachers that tell us what's right or wrong. We have parents that try to do better than their previous parents. So now they want to tell you like, no, this is what's right and this is what you should do. So we have the issue with religion, to use this as a comparison. When we're kids, we don't want to go to church because that shit's boring. And your mom like gives you this look, or your grandmother or your grandparents give you this look saying, you straighten up. You straighten up for Jesus.
Cut you out of church.
Straighten up for Jesus. He died on the sins for you. You should be grateful. But if you really understand what Christianity is, when you understand what real spirituality is, it has nothing to do with being serious. It has nothing to do with the requirement. If you want to praise God, you should do it because that's what you naturally feel you want to do. And now we have this culture where we are trying to set laws up and we are trying to set people, the right people in place to legislate and to dictate what the right requirements are to being the right type of person. And the idea of policing adds on to that narrative. Okay. We don't need police to tell us how to live our lives. I was doing some research earlier today, man. Y'all know how much I love Alan Watts. I'm a big Alan Watts guy. Huge. Anybody who knows me knows how much I love Alan Watts.
Great philosopher.
He's always had this perspective on policing. He always said, okay, well, who's going to police the police when they need policing? At the end of the day, we're just throwing the cat over our shoulders and trying to blame somebody else for them not holding us accountable. At the end of the day, even if you want to answer that question, okay, who's going to police the police? Okay, set up laws in order to make sure that you can restrict any type of corruption. Okay, let's improve the training. Let's improve how we treat our cops. Let's just improve, the whole police training situation altogether, right? What we forget to realize that in all of these situations, you have people. And policing is nothing more than a government institution. Government institutions in this country is based on continuity. There are people in the DEA, there's people in the FBI, there are people that are cops that have jobs that support their families with these jobs. When we look to the police to tell us how to live, we then further our disconnection with ourselves. And in my community, that's what I would preach. That's what I wrote in my notes. Health. I would say health is the forefront of what I would be focused on in our communities. I would say health includes physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health because they're all one. There's no separateness in between them. The reason that we have the problems we have is because we're disconnected with ourselves. We're disconnected with ourselves because we're trying to create an outside world where everything outside can watch my every movement and tell me what's right or wrong. Why can't you tell me what's right or wrong? Why can't you tell yourself what you need to do? That goes back to we're missing the leadership gene. We're missing the leadership gene because there's a lack of accountability within ourselves and we're not connected with ourselves. That's what I would focus on in my community.
Let me give you a little bit of pushback, bro, because I think the police are necessary. Okay, so let's go with what you're talking about. Let's say that we live in a country without police. What would the result of that be? Do you think that by naturally not having the police, different people in the community will hold motherfuckers accountable? Whether that's a strong man in the community or just people in the community. Do you think that the community would sort of police itself, or do you think that it'd be more so chaos without having police? Because I think that law is, although it sucks, it kind of sets like base guidelines for certain people not to do certain stuff. Right. Like, for example, bro, like honestly, this is gonna sound crazy, but if it wasn't for motherfuckers getting arrested for rape, it would be a lot more women raped out here, bro. Because ain't nothing gonna happen to the men that do it. Mm-hmm. But we have that law against rape, and that's why people don't do it. Mm-hmm. So if we don't have police, how do y'all feel? Do y'all think that like the community would police itself, or do you think it would be chaos out here?
I feel like that the law of the jungle would take care of itself. If I'm answering right now, my answer is definitely subject to change, but if I'm answering right now, the law of jungle will take care of itself. When people can simply have a good look at each other, people's worst fear is simply to be seen. Don't see me in all my demons and don't see me in all my angels. I think that those motherfuckers that were raping, I think that honestly, the punishment of going to prison where niggas is on social media, where motherfuckers is on tablets, they can watch TV. Honestly, a prison is really like a playground these days. I think that the punishment would be more severe. And though it's a little bit more animalistic, it's a little bit more like, okay, I'm gonna publicly hang you. Okay, we're gonna publicly beat you to death. But people can take care of themselves. We need to stop giving control of ourselves to outside things. And I understand that, I would call that an extreme example because I feel like that's the type of example that gets brought up a lot. It always jumps to the rapings and the murders, but You know what I mean? Like that, those things aren't going to happen as much as you tend to think that they would happen, because those are just the outliers. The main things that we need to talk about, the main point of really policing should be things about that are crimes. There's a difference between crimes and, like, I guess you could say, sins. So you got crimes. Crimes are, let me see what I wrote down. Crimes are an offense against society in which someone is injured or is supposed to complain. Robbery or assault. That's the point where, I would say police, comes in to good handy. But then you have what people metaphorically would call sins, which is crimes without victim, gambling, prostitution, drugs. You can't legislate shit like that. And that's more so the frequency that I'm speaking on. You can't, like, okay, it's stupid to gamble. It's stupid to get addicted to drugs. It's stupid to, get involved in prostitution. But I mean, honestly, if a woman is willing to get paid for selling her pussy, and a man is willing to pay that woman for that pussy, I mean, there's no victim right there. There is no victim. Of course, that can lead to a whole bunch of other things, but it doesn't need to be up to the government and the police to legislate people's decisions, to the point where all we're going to do is make laws that are going to put us in a box, to where if you want to do anything, you need a lawyer, and the media is going to be attached, and it's going to be a whole thing. It distracts us from the main purpose that we're here to do, and that's just to live life.
On a societal level, like, I see where you're coming from. On a societal level, we need police, because without any type of structure, nigga, this is the fucking purge.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
The hell? Like no type of policing, like just straight cold turkey, just citizens.
I think that I'm with you on that, bro, because I think that humans, by our nature, we need some type of guidance, or else motherfuckers either gonna wild out or go crazy. Because without having some type of direction,
I disagree with that.
It's just too much shit that can happen.
I think
it's like, hold on, let me just get this last part out. That's okay. Like, we got a project, right? We got a project. We know this is some shit that we supposed to do, but there's no deadline on it. You gonna start working on it? If okay, 2 examples, right? So we got a project, let's say it's due February 14th. We got this to do, right? Mm-hmm. This same project, there's no deadline on it. Is that, having that deadline is going to make you start working towards that without having that structure, without having that deadline, you just going to be like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but you're not going to do it.
But see, that frequency of a structure, that's a different type of frequency you're speaking on. The frequency that I'm speaking on is a little bit more instrumental in our daily lives. Structure in our daily lives, we don't need outside things to structure that. We need to be structured within ourselves. That's the source of all suffering. All these things outside we're talking about, Tyre, Nichols, police brutality, racism, sexism, inequalities on all levels, disparities within wages. The only reason it is going on is because we're disconnected with ourselves. So we're trying to conquer the outside world, and we're trying to make the outside world more safe and more good and right and more godlike. But you got to understand, the world, regardless, if you try to make it more godlike or right, it's going to come with its demons regardless. World, you talk about this all the time. The world is how it is, and it's always going to be that way. He's not speaking on a negative frequency. He's just saying no matter where you go, you're going to encounter extreme problems, extreme travesties, the same way that you're going to encounter extreme blessings, extreme light, extreme love. And to counteract what y'all was saying about the purge, that's just also coming off this bandwagon, just assuming that people are just fucking crazy. And if you let the reins loose on people, if we can't, AKA control people, it's a control factor. If we cannot control people's behavior or monitor people's behaviors, they're going to go fucking crazy. We're going to be nothing more than animals. But what makes you think, really, outside of the movies that we see, or this perpetuation of how terrible life is on social media and on the news, what really makes you think on your day-to-day interactions with people that you talk to, people that you see at the grocery store, people that you work with, people that you're friends with? Most people are genuinely just nice, good people. But it takes two people or that one store you see to be like, wow, well, maybe I'm wrong. People are actually terrible. I would say that if we don't have structure, and I'm not saying that no structure is the answer. I don't believe in absolutes. I believe in balance. I think that some structure needs to be had. But
just to assume that everything would just go to shit, that's imbalance. It's not like if we don't have police, that murder would go up and rapes would go up. You know what I'm saying? It's
Well,
just that.
What I would say to that is,
it's just that it would be an, what I want to say. It would be an adjustment period, but the point of us not having policing, it would be a time where we need to learn how to connect back with ourselves, because we have no idea what it even means to be this right here, which is the essential problem that we're approaching, even with Tyre Nichols.
to answer your question of what makes me think that, it's because I'm human, bruh. I know even myself, I have deep, dark desires that, like you were talking about earlier, you don't want these things to be surfaced. So when you don't have the law there to prohibit motherfuckers from doing that deep, dark shit, motherfuckers' desires come to light. And a lot of times people will try to hide those dark desires. And you were talking about, like, it's so many good people out here and stuff. That's the way they describe serial killers, man. I was just watching that Dahmer, on Netflix. And when you hear about these serial killers and people that do these heinous things, a lot of times they put a mask on as, you know, being super friendly, being very personable, being all this stuff. Or even like when you hear about females in abusive relationships, you wouldn't think, if you know the guy, 9 times out of 10, you don't think that, because people are good at putting masks on and presenting them a certain way. But on the inside, it's a lot more. And like I said, y'all probably got some deep, dark desires that you wouldn't want out there. So, I mean, that's what people are imperfect. So when you allow people to act out on their natural, sometimes their deepest, darkest desires, it's going to be chaos.
What makes you think that the deepest, darkest desires is the only thing to be considered when all hell is being rained loose? Like, what makes you think
there's no consequence for it?
But just because there's no consequence for it doesn't mean that, it doesn't also mean that people are also not going to be great. You know what I mean? The same likely somebody can bless you is the same likelihood of somebody to curse you. I'm not saying that, you know, I don't know if we didn't have no police that everything would just be peaches and cream. I don't know that. But I also don't know that, you know, all the purge will just happen. That's fear that you're speaking from. Respectfully, I'm telling you this. I feel like when people respond to a question like I'm asking and they say that the purge is going to let loose, it's a fear-based response. We love 19 Keys. A famous saying that he's got me stuck on, that's a position of powerlessness. When you make a opinion or you make a decision based on something that's fear-based, it's powerless in its nature, because you're going to do everything to prevent those things from happening. But even though that's what we've done to this point, we still don't stop the Jeffrey Dahmers. We still don't stop the other things. We still don't stop all the serial killers, the muggings, the rapings. I wouldn't even say that we stop it any less. It's just that we have the illusion of control, because really it all comes back to us trying to control the devil. Metaphorically, we're trying to control the devil from spreading out here. But you can't control anything out here. You can't even control this life. This life, the people that you are, is literally nothing more than a cause and effect chain on a time level of chance and just random luck. You're placed in this shit. We sitting here, we always vibe on the level of, I'm going to decide my life. I'm going to take power in my reaction to the actions that are done to me. But the only reason we have that power to do that, the reason that we can make a podcast and talk about the things that we like to talk about, is because we unfortunately are placed in the environment to flourish and react in that type of way. The difference between the nigga that made it out the hood, that stayed in the hood, is simply their environment. It's not the person at all. Literally, it honestly is not the person at all. The only reason that the person that got out the hood was able to get out the hood is because by random luck, he was placed in a situation where maybe even 10 seconds of that nigga's life was different. And he spoke to somebody that said something powerful to him, and it stayed with him for the rest of his life. And that's what allowed him to get out. We can't control other people. We can't legislate morality. We cannot legislate and enact laws or try to police people into being the right type of people, because if that's what we're going to do, it's just going to be us chasing control over other people, and it's a race that we'll never win.
I want to say this, and I want to hear your POV on it, real. I just want to say that, bro, people are dangerous, man. Like, the thing that, okay, so talking about organization and shit like that, Chicago, when you had the gang chiefs and all that shit that was holding these wild boys in line, and there was consequences for, attacking the woman walking home. There was consequences for, just creating a disruption because you go out and do this, and now you got the heat on us. So you got heat coming to us for something stupid that you did. You about to be held accountable for that. Then when they started putting away, the Tukis, all these gang chiefs and shit, that's when you get Chicago having the highest murder crime rate because there's no organization, there's no consequences, so everybody's out there running wild. So that's what I'm saying, like it has to be some sort of organization just to safeguard the wild niggas from running wild, because if it's not there, then like Ray was talking about, it's the law of the jungle. Like if you not, and I can't relate to this because I'm not a weak nigga, but if you not the top dog, then you gonna get ate up. You gonna get ate up by the top dog. Like imagine if I'm 5'5", 120 pounds, and I'm walking up to a nigga like Jalen. Not necessarily Jalen because I know his person, but a nigga like Jalen's physique. He gonna look at me like I'm a bitch automatically because I can't really step to him because I don't have that power. But automatically, me as the weak nigga, I'm protected by the law.
Your little ass out the way.
Exactly. Exactly. That's how it's gonna go if it ain't this type of shit set in place. Like it's gonna be the law of the jungle. Like it's gonna be
survival.
It's gonna be survival. So with that law, there's at least some type of structure. So the wild shit is not gonna happen. The wild shit can happen if a nigga just don't give a fuck. But it's like, bro, there's a reason that there's rules. There's a reason why there's regulations. It's all meant to keep something from happening. Because without some sort of structure, it's gonna be chaos.
Like I always said, now me, I'm like this.
Holding that mic is hilarious.
Oh yeah, nah, because I don't want this shit to
fool
fold.
you niggas real quick.
Yeah.
Mic check one.
So I don't know what the fuck this shit is out here. It's just, it all comes back. Okay, we can't control certain things, but we can control ourselves about how we approach things. Like you said, that's part of the reason why we can have manifestations. That's part of the reasons why we can still level up, because we don't allow what's going on out here to dictate our inner world for our own dreams and our own ambitions for like what we want. Yes, it's unfortunate that Mr. Tyre is gone, but I'm not going to allow, one black man to get killed to dictate how I should go about my own life and the way that I should live. And I told my parents, I said, well, yes, I'm a black man. Y'all did y'all thing. Y'all conceded for healthy reasons. Y'all conceded to have me. I'm here now. But it's just, I still got to, play the game. I still got to, hustle. I still got to make moves out here. Like, I can't just stop not do anything because of it's bad. Like, no, like you still got to make moves, but make moves in a smarter way. And just being aware of what the police do, and then just being, more controlled and synced.
Okay. I love that answer, man. The question I want to ask, because, I feel like me, you, Ron, you know what I mean? You on the fence of, bro, we need police. And I'm on the fence of, honestly, we don't need police. You have your reasons because you feel like people need structure. If we don't have structure to structure us as humans, we're going to just go rampant and it's just going to be just no more. We're going to be no more than animals. Me, I'm saying that we don't have personal freedom because we're giving our freedoms to other people. We're giving all of our inner control to outer control. And we need to learn how to lead our own lives instead of trying to have the police to tell us what's right or wrong, right? So I feel like, there's definitely cons in everything that we're saying. So what is the middle ground that we need to get to? Because we both don't believe in absolutes. We don't. Right. So like there has to be some balance. Police, and there has to be some no police, for lack of better words.
Balance.
Because so what do you think, man?
Like it or not, the government has tried to structure a way to make sure that a certain organization or certain branch doesn't have too much power. It's called checks and balances. I don't really think that there's nobody to check the police, is there? Like, who holds the police accountable? The judge?
Well, honestly, it's the laws are the things that can check the police, or like more higher up police, or you can say the judge. Yeah. But ultimately, I did actually notes on this. Okay, so who's going to police the police? You would say laws.
Who's going to police the police?
Then
right.
you would say, okay, who's going to police the laws? More laws. But the thing that inhabits all those people, all those things are people, which is the crux of my point. It's not the police that are the problem. It's not the laws that are the problem. It's people that are the problem, because you can't get away from the self-serving way that people just actually are. You know, going to the Constitution. I mean, bro, like if you just look at what America is on a surface level, it's a free country. You come here and you live the American dream. The caveat is, if you are educated and if you read the Constitution, only if you're a free white man. If you're black, it's 3/5 of a man. If you're a woman, get your ass in the kitchen and make me some chicken. You know what I'm saying? Like that's so like,
Get your ass in that kitchen.
you know what I'm saying? So like,
Watch my
like everything is gonna have this self-serving bias. So even if you make laws to protect more black people and people in these underprivileged communities and to police the police, there's still gonna be self-serving biases in order to serve their own personal agendas. So the thing that we need to invest in, what I'm saying, is health. Going back to what you said we need to give therapy to these police. I think that universal health care needs to be adapted into America, and in that universal health care, at the top of it, doesn't just need to be mental health. It needs to be overall health as a whole. We got to nourish and we have to feed our people, because our people are the things that are going to be enacting these solutions. You can't just put better people in place to make better laws and be better policemen and not be able to quantify what a better person is. And you can't even really quantify what a better person is. You know what I'm saying? We have to, and the only way to be a better person is to be more connected with yourself.
You got it.
Okay. Well, yeah, two things. You hit around those, like I've always said. The real problem is not the police, it's not the military, it's not the government. No, it's people, it's humans. Because without the human, none of these systems will be in place, right? So who made, like, obviously, America went, okay, it was by some white men, right? But still, it was a human being that still came here, that took over the shit, said, okay, fuck you, this my shit now. And then made all these laws and all these and then all these constitutions, and now we're in this condition. Now it's just more, it's still slavery, but it's modern slavery. Now they got us in the mind versus back in the days. It was
psychological warfare. Yep.
Because we're all slaves anyway. But if you're going to slave, at least slave in the healthiest way possible,
So we better wrap this up, man. I kind of just want to get my final thoughts here. To answer your question, Jay, about meeting in the middle, police and no police, how do y'all feel? What my main takeaway from that, first of all, is absolute power corrupts absolutely. So we need to take absolute power away from the cops. They have to be held accountable when they're breaking these laws. Now, we all know that cops have hookups with other cops, the district, the police district, the judge, and all that shit. No, we have to hold a cop accountable when they do something wrong, and that's going to cut that absolute power. Also, how y'all feel about taking deadly force away from police? Like things like guns, replacing that with rubber bullets, and, taking deadly things like that away from the cops.
As much as that would sound good.
You think we need it?
Yes, because you want to know why? Because every situation is different, right? So if motherfucker is robbing a bank, you gonna need those SWAT police officers to go up there and then handle that shit. Or if it's, some drug bust and then the person is shooting at you, yeah, like
you got an AK-47.
Yeah. So like you gonna walk around that bitch with like a rubber band? No, that's not gonna get the job done, nigga. No, I ain't gonna get the job done. No.
But see, that's what I'm saying, bro. Like it's like,
and then
you never know. People have so much limitless potential. You never know.
But we also have to understand that in order to create the ideal situation, we can't only think realistically. In order to create the ideal situation, we cannot only think realistically, because the thing that gives us our gift is our ability to create, our ability to innovate. You know what I'm saying? No one could have ever thought that we could create a light bulb, but we created a light bulb. We have to think outside this box, man. We think we need police on the level that we need it, but we actually don't. And to just go back to my point, man, we need to connect with ourselves. And I know that might sound vague, but when I say connect with yourself, it's a spiritual thing. It's not even just a spiritual thing. It's an overall just, I am alive. What does it mean to be alive? I need to understand that no matter what I experience out here, I experience from inside my body. So if I can get in touch with this right here, then I will be able to contribute to society in the most plentiful way. And that's what's missing. Yeah. That's what's missing. And with rubber bullets, no, that's not going to work in this society, because just like you said, motherfuckers on the street don't got rubber bullets. So I mean, you can't give cops rubber bullets. That's pretty much a death sentence. You know what I'm saying? You gotta.
It has to be a balance. Yeah.
You know what, man? I'm loving this conversation so much. I feel like we can't encapsulate what we're talking about in this episode. I definitely think down the road we should probably revisit this conversation.
Hey, this is a sequel.
Because I mean, bro, we had a whole damn little shit that. Oh
my shit fucked up too, bro.
Okay, so
I just saw them stop about 4 or 5 times.
We had a whole shit that we had a whole damn script we were trying to stick to, but we went off of it, and this is a very potent conversation because we unlocking keys, we opening doors. We probably should continue this conversation, man.
Cool.
We should continue this conversation another time. I was scared because I thought I replaced my motherfucking audio, bro.
Shit.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, man. We definitely had a powerful conversation here tonight, man.
Very
we kind of just tapped the pavement on some ideas and current situations. You know, definitely RP Tyre Nichols.
Yeah, Tyre Nichols.
Tyre
Rest in
Nichols.
peace.
I hope we've been saying his name right this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's his name. It's for me, it's nothing like trying to disrespect him or just. For me, it's pure ignorance. I'm not gonna lie. Like I told you at the beginning, I chose to not watch this for a long time just because you just get tired of traumatic experiences being relived. Like, bro, I thought 2020 was gonna kick off some type of new revolution with everything that we were going through 2020. But here it is, another year, 2023, another death, another police case.
And
it's just like, bro,
every time, once again, every time I see cases like this, it's fucked up, but it's like, like I get numb. I get desensitized where it's like, damn, like another black man gone. Okay, well,
that's how they want you to feel about black men, though. Like the media wants to put us out here getting killed and shit, and they want it to be the same reaction you just had. Oh, another nigga just got killed.
It's unfortunate. Like, yes, I'll tune in. Like, I'll get the whole depth of what happened, but it's like, man, because next thing you know, soon after George Floyd, after that happened, right? I think a week or two later, Rashad Brooks.
Bro, and yeah, they have a way of doing that, man. I was on Twitter today and I typed in Tyre Nichols because I just wanted to get a little bit of info for this conversation. And it was like, motherfuckers have a way of doing that, bro. Like I saw something on there. You just gotta learn how to read the room. Like I saw, it was like, oh, they talking about Tyre Nichols, but they ain't talking about this. And it was a video of like a dog getting tased, and then the dog had ended up getting killed. I showed you that, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, like this is fucked up, but come on, bro. We talking about this right now. Then they had the other video I showed you about that dude getting beat up, and it was like, yo, y'all talking about Tyre Nichols, but y'all ain't talking about this, bro. Like, get a man some respect. He just died. Read the room. We know shit is fucked up out here. There's probably 5 other niggas that got killed by the cops today, but we talking about this in this moment. Read the room.
It goes back to that Black Lives Matter. It goes back to that Black Lives Matter conversation versus All Lives Matter. Okay, we understand that all lives matter, but we talking about black lives. You know what I mean? It's not. We talking about cancer lives matter. Okay, diabetes and heart disease, all that other shit matters, but damn, bro, can we get some recognition on cancer lives matter? You know what I mean? And I think that what we need to do is really also, just to stem off what y'all are saying, is stop trying to link all problems together and handle them on the contextual level that they deserve. And now I feel like right now, I feel like everybody, honestly, in our culture is taking black people's struggle and kind of replicating it in their own thing and then trying to relate it to this. And then trying to, especially with this situation right here, you know what I mean? We're trying to relate white cops shooting black men. This is a situation that probably is incredibly peculiar to that. We need to handle this situation for what it is and stop trying to beat around the bush. We know what we need to do, but we make it complicated by a whole, honestly, the media inflating it on an astronomical level. And my heart goes out to the Nichols family. Prayers up to you. I'm going to echo something that was said in the funeral that I watched today. And it is, when you leave something in a room, when you mean to come back, let's say I'm at a barbershop and I forgot my money in the car. I'm going to leave my wallet and my phone here because I want you to know that I'm coming back. Tyre left sisters, he left brothers, he left mothers, he left activists, he left a whole movement that is going to be ignited behind him. Family, you will see him again. He is a part of you. Just because someone departs from you in the physical does not mean that they depart from you in the emotional, mental, or the spiritual. You have your memories. You have the imprint that is Tyre inside your heart. Please do never forget that, because the one fact about life is that it's nothing but connection. We're all connected, and Tyre is inextricably always going to be connected to you. Please, I hope you realize that sooner than later. Peace, God. Please, gods, goddesses.
Man, that shit hit, bro.
Yeah, I'm thinking about my great grandmother now, man. Damn.
Yeah, that shit kind of got me teary a little bit.
Yeah, man. Like I did some research and I saw that shit on YouTube, and I was like, bro, and I gotta watch this, man.
King Sage coming through with the gems, man.
Once
I
again,
see you.
I was just, just thinking about my cousin, like, man.
R.P.
Yeah, bro. R.P. to a real one, man. Yeah. Well, this was another episode. Please, we got a whole bunch of exciting things coming up this year. I got something for y'all. Y'all just stay motherfucking tuned.
What you got on right now, man? What you got on?
Let me tell you something, brother. Let me tell you something, brother. My goddamn back. This right here, excuse my mic. This right here is I Am Royalty. I Am Royalty Apparel. I am going to be launching my own brand by the end of this year. This is my first creation. This is an exclusive shirt. This is I Am Royalty. Please, if you want any information, please tap in with me. Like before, I am also working on a book. I am working on this podcast. I am working on events. I am working on so much. My main goal in life is to spark connection. Unity, connection is nothing more than diversity meeting itself. Diversity is unity. And I just want to build more bridges. So if you want to build more bridges with me, please tap in with me, man. And please tap in with these two kings right here. I wouldn't fuck with them if they weren't on some elite God shit.
Already.
And follow me on Instagram, King Sage, KJNGSAGE.
Hey, get at me on Instagram, _King Coop, KINGKOOP.
Follow me at JERRELL.Kemp, KEMP on Instagram. Chill.